part 3 of building a miniature abandoned music room that I'll Photoshop myself into once it's done. Today we're finishing off the walls and also putting the windows in. I started off by staining the windows a darker colour because that's what I wanted to show through the paint cracking effect. That's the before and after. I then traced an outline of where I wanted my windows to go, so I got my boyfriend to cut them out for me, and I believe I am putting them in backwards, but that's because my walls are actually different thicknesses, so stylistically it made more sense to put them in the wrong way round rather than have a really deep ledge on one of the windows. And once again, it's time to make the things look old, and for this I wanted to use a paint cracking technique that I found online. It's really easy to do. You literally just do a coat of PVA glue, and then immediately after you go in with a coat of paint, and I don't know the science behind this, but it will just make the paint crack. And I wanted to take it one step further and make it look like the windows have been sitting there for ages, so I went in with some green and some brown weathering powder and just kind of put it wherever I felt like putting it, and it just made it look really old and mouldy. This is how that turned out. And once I had stuck the windows down with some Gorilla Glue, I went in with some more aging and just used a green and a brown wash to add some sliminess to the window. I also had quite a bit of ivy left from the greenhouse project, so I added some of that into the windows as well. Now for the walls, I didn't actually use any new techniques to age them. I just ended up changing up the colour palette a little bit. I added some darker patches of grey, and I also made the top layer a bit more pink. If you want to see how I age walls, you can click in the previous video, but I much preferred how this turned out, so I ended up changing up the wall that I had already done. To add to the abandoned feeling, I knew I was going to have to dirty it up a little bit, and I really think this is what ended up pulling the whole thing together and made it look really effective. I started off with some brown wash and I put that on the ends of the liquid latex where it started peeling up just to make it look dirty and old. And then I went in with some brown weathering powder, and I didn't really have any rhyme or reason to this. I just sort of dabbed it and streaked it wherever I fancied, wherever I thought it would look good. I also went in with some yellow weathering powder just because it felt right, and it ended up looking good as well, so I really wasn't going to question it. And this is how the walls and the windows turned out. It's not completely done yet. I need to add in some skirting boards and more ivy and some glass for the windows, but it's really come together and it's actually starting to look like a room.